Recently, I put out a video called From Rice Fields to Pattaya Bars, the real story behind Thailand's bar girls. And to be honest, the response to that video has been bigger than I expected. It's already generated over 50,000 views on Facebook, and I've also uploaded it here on this new channel for those of you who haven't seen it yet. Now in that video, I broke down where many of these women come from, the villages, the lifestyle, the journey from places like Isan into cities like Pattaya and Phuket. And for a lot of people watching, that opened their eyes because it showed something most men never really think about: what happens before the bars. But in this video, I want to go a step further, because understanding where someone comes from is only half the story. The real question is this: once they're in that life, why do so many of them stay? Why is it so difficult to walk away? And why do so many men completely misunderstand what's actually going on? Because from the outside, it looks like a choice, it looks like freedom, it looks like easy money. But when you look a little closer, you start to realize something else is going on, something deeper, something most people never see and rarely take the time to understand. So, in today's video, we're going to break that down. No filters, no fantasy, just the reality behind why, for many of these women, leaving Pattaya isn't as simple as people think. Why some bar girls can never leave Pattaya. When people think about places like Pattaya or Phuket, they usually see one side of the story: the lights, the music, the bars, the women. And if they think a little deeper, they might assume something else, that these women are choosing this life because they want fast money, an easy lifestyle, or a way out of poverty. But what most people don't understand is this: for many of these women, leaving isn't as simple as walking away. In fact, for some of them, leaving isn't really an option at all. Not because they're trapped physically, but because they're tied in ways most foreign men never see. When a woman first leaves her village, the goal is usually simple: make money, support family, build a better future, maybe send money home every month, maybe help parents who've worked their entire lives with very little to show for it, maybe help a younger brother or sister get an education. At the beginning, it feels temporary. I'll do this for a year, maybe 2, then I'll stop. That's the plan. That's always the plan. But plans can change. Back in the village, earning even a small amount consistently is difficult. But in Pattaya or Phuket, the money can be fast. One good customer can equal weeks of work back home. And when that money starts going back to the village, everything changes. Parents notice, family notices, neighbours even notice. Suddenly, the house gets repaired, new appliances appear, debts get paid off, there's more food on the table, and for the first time, the family feels relief. But here's where it shifts from help to expectation. At first, it's gratitude. Thank you for helping us. But over time, that turns into something else. Reliance. Because once a family gets used to receiving money every month, it becomes part of their survival. Bills are based on it. Lifestyle adjusts to it. And slowly, without anyone saying it directly, it becomes your responsibility. Now, it's not, I'm helping my family. It becomes, my family needs me to do this. And that's a completely different mindset. In Western cultures, independence is valued. People are expected to look after themselves. But in Thailand, especially in rural areas, family comes first, always. There's a strong cultural expectation that children, especially daughters, support their parents later in life. So when a woman is earning money in Pattaya, she's not just working for herself, she's carrying multiple people, parents, siblings, sometimes even extended family. And that pressure doesn't disappear, it grows, because once you prove that you can provide, people start relying on the fact that you will. Now imagine trying to walk away from that. If she stops working, the money stops, the family struggles again, debts can return, opportunities for siblings disappear. So leaving doesn't just affect her, it affects everyone connected to her. And that creates guilt, a lot of guilt, because now the decision isn't, what do I want for my life? It becomes, what happens to everyone else if I stop? And that question keeps people exactly where they are. Now, this is where things get even more complicated, because foreign men often enter the picture thinking that they are helping, and sometimes they are, but they usually misunderstand the situation. They think, I'll take her away from this life, I'll give her something better, and for a while that might even happen. But here's the reality most don't see. The financial responsibility doesn't disappear, it follows her. Even if she leaves Pattaya, even if she enters a relationship, even if she moves abroad, the obligation to support her family is still there. So now the dynamic changes. The man isn't just supporting her, he's indirectly supporting her entire network. And not every man is prepared for that. This isn't a cage. There are no locked doors. No one is forcing anything physically, but it's still a form of being stuck, because the exit comes at a cost, and that cost isn't just personal, it's emotional, it's cultural, it's financial. Walking away doesn't just mean changing your life. It means potentially letting down the people you care about the most. And that is not an easy decision for anyone. Now, some women do leave, but it usually happens in specific ways. Marriage to a foreigner, long-term financial stability, successful business ventures, or reaching a point of burnout where they can't continue. But even then, the pressure doesn't fully disappear, because once you've been the provider, the role tends to stick. Now, when men walk into this environment, they often judge what they see on the surface. They look at behavior, at actions, at how someone interacts with them, but without understanding the background. It's easy to misread everything, because what looks like choice is often influenced by responsibility. What looks like manipulation is sometimes survival strategy, and what looks like freedom can actually be obligation. So when people ask, why doesn't she just leave? The answer isn't simple, because she's not just making a decision for herself, she's carrying the weight of where she came from and the people still there And until you understand that, you're not really seeing the full picture. Not the bars, not the lifestyle, and definitely not the reality behind it. Now, I think this is the part where a lot of people watching and listening to this need to be honest with themselves, because it's very easy to sit there and judge what you see on the surface. It's easy to walk into a bar, spend a few nights in places like Pattaya or Phuket, and come away with a strong opinion. She's fake. She's only after money. She's playing games. And maybe, sometimes, that is true. But what most people don't do is stop and ask why. Why does she act that way? Why does she stay in that environment? Why does she make the choices that she makes? Because once you understand the bigger picture, it stops being as simple as good or bad, right or wrong, real or fake. It becomes something else entirely. It becomes human. Now, this system doesn't exist by accident. It exists because both sides are getting something from it. On one side, you have women trying to build a better life, not just for themselves, but for their families, trying to move forward from where they started, trying to create opportunities that did not exist before. And on the other side, you have men looking for attention, for connection, for something different from their normal lives. Sometimes it's loneliness. Sometimes it's curiosity. Sometimes it's escape. But whatever the reason, both sides are part of the same system. And as long as that's the case, nothing really changes. So, instead of asking, is she genuine or can I trust her? Maybe the better question is this: do you actually understand the situation you've walked into? Do you understand the environment, the pressure, the expectations, the reality behind the smiles, the conversations, the attention? Because if you don't, then you're not really seeing what's in front of you. You're seeing what you want to see. And that's where most people go wrong. They build a version of the situation in their head. Instead of accepting it for what it really is, they believe they're the exception. They believe their situation is different. They believe there's something special there that doesn't follow the same rules. And sometimes that belief can cost them dearly, financially, emotionally, or both. But at the same time, that doesn't mean every situation is identical. Not every woman is the same. Not every story ends the same way. And that's what makes it complicated, because within this system, there are real moments, real connections, real emotions. They just exist alongside something else, something practical, something necessary. So, if you take anything away from this video, let it be this: don't look at this world in black and white. Don't reduce it to simple labels, and don't walk into it blind. Understand it, see it for what it is, and then decide how you want to move within it. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about Pattaya or Phuket or bar girls. It's about people. People trying to improve their situation in whatever way they can, and people on the other side trying to find something they feel is missing. And when those two things meet, this is what you get. Not a fantasy, not a fairy tale, but a very real system built on money, emotion, and opportunity. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so this message gets out there to everyone. Look after yourselves, and ciao for now. Bye bye.
You want me to whisk it or do you want me to hand it?
다시 볼까요?